My name is Jerome Ferry. My cameraman is Alan Eggers. We're doing a video interview with George Politis, a lifelong Cedar Rapidian and a longtime employee and retiree of the Wilson Meatpacking Company, which was the former TM Sinclair Company. George, tell us where you were born and when you were born.
I was born in Cedar Rapids on the southwest part of town, February the 8th, 1920.
What was your dad's name?
Nicholas George.
Mm-hmm. Your mother?
My mother's name is Mary Ellen.
What was her maiden name?
Mary Ellen Sharkey.
Mm-hmm. And what was their nationality?
Well, my dad was Greek, full-blooded Greek, and my mother was Dutch, Irish, Dutch, and German.
Did either one of them immigrate to America? Or?
My dad did, yes.
Did he really?
He came over here when he was, I believe, about 19 years old, 18.
Did he ever say why he immigrated to America?
No, he didn't.
Yeah. Because of economic conditions, or you don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. How about brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I had two brothers and one sister. Mm-hmm. All three of them are passed away.
Mm-hmm. Where did you fall in the ranking there?
I was next to the oldest, yes.
What was, do you remember all of their names?
Oh, I believe I do. My sister's name was Mary Ellen. And my brother's name was Myron Nicholas. And my other brother's name was Constantine.
What was your dad's occupation?
He worked at Quaker Oats. Yeah. He was a machine operator.
Yeah. Where do you suppose he would have got that knowledge to work around machinery, or
I really don't know, but he was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did he work his entire life at Quaker Oats?
Yes.
Yeah. Where was you living? What was your first address that you remember living at?
Over on 4th Avenue and 2nd Street, Southwest. I don't remember the address now. Probably 100 block. We're real close to the river.
Do you remember having a lot of friends that were Greek in the neighborhood?
We had, not in the neighborhood though, my dad had friends that was Greek though, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever recall any discrimination like there was against different nationalities?
No.
None whatsoever. No. How about grade school? What was the first, where'd you go to grade school?
Taylor School.
Taylor?
Yes.
And did you finish there, graduate from
Yes,
there?
well, I went through there. Well, I take that back, but I didn't, because we moved then. We moved from the west side over to the east side. 1324 Oakland Avenue.
Yeah, yeah. Then where did you go to school then?
Madison School.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you ever go to Adams?
Yes, that was later on in life, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Your mother, I think you told me that she passed away at an early age.
When she was 30 years old, 1930.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there any flu epidemic going around or anything that?
Well, I was kind of young then. I was only 10 years old, so I don't remember. I remember Dr. Erskine was taking care of her. Something about her lungs, lung cancer, I assume.
So who ended up raising you? Just your dad, or?
Well, my dad and my grandmother. Then later on, we had a housekeeper. Then my dad finally married one of the housekeepers, so she was my stepmother.
Mm-hmm. In high school, where'd you go to high school, George?
I went to McKinley High School.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you had mentioned?
Well, we went one semester at Washington High School, the old Washington High School.
The old Washington.
Then they closed that down. I went to McKinley High School. Yes.
Did you ever any memories from old Washington? And I know the railroad tracks probably run quite close to.
Close by there. Yes, yeah, they sure did. Oh yeah.
Supposedly the smoke and the soot and the vibration from the train rattled.
Oh, you could hear it all day long. Yes. You betcha. In those days, we had trains going by.
Did you walk to school when you were in Washington?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We lived not too far away from there.
Yeah. Were you involved in sports?
Well, yes. I was on the track team, and I tried out for basketball one time. I didn't succeed. I wasn't too good, so I dropped it.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of the old Union Station?
Yes. That was after high school, though. Yes. They should have kept that there, I think.
Did you ever have the opportunity to take a train out of Cedar Rapids?
Oh, yes, you bet. I went to Little Rock, Arkansas one time.
Did you really?
You betcha, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how old do you suppose you were?
I just got out of service. I was in, I had to be 25 years old. Yeah.
Are any?
Well, I came home on furlough one time, and I was still in the Army, so I was probably about 23. I went down there on a vacation.
Yeah. Do you remember any of your childhood buddies that you used to? Are they any of them still living?
No, the one I used to chum around with most of the time was Carol Shadle, and he passed away just a year or two ago. We were always together, playing table tennis and going to Riverside Park and whatnot.
Was table tennis kind of one of your favorite sports?
It was. We played it almost every night after school.
Yeah.
Him and I would go to the YMCA and play table tennis.
Did they have leagues back then?
We sure did. Yes, we did.
But amongst the schools, different schools?
Well, no, it just wasn't much schools. No, just had a league at the YMCA. You had a bunch of fellows came there every day, and it made up different teams.
Mm-hmm. Did that just kind of die out, that sport, table tennis, or is it still?
Must have, because I don't hear of any teams or any table tennis leagues around town anymore. But in those days, it was pretty popular.
Do you remember when you were growing up, George? What did you do as kids in the neighborhood to keep yourself busy, especially in the summertime? Or did you have to work?
We'd play cop and robbers. Carol Shadle and I would make rubber guns and use rubber inner tube for bullets. We'd go to Riverside Park and play.
Did you have to get a job early on?
Not until after I got out of high school. I did, yes. I worked at the restaurants downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And,
did you get to keep your money, or did you have to help support the family? Or
well, later on, when I got out of high school, I worked at Lincoln Hotel as a bellboy. I was making $10 a week, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I gave my dad half the money.
Yeah. Where was the Lincoln?
On 2nd Avenue and by the tracks there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Was there a lot of colored boys working there then?
My God, there wasn't any.
Wasn't none?
No, my golly.
No shoe shine stands or stations?
Well, I guess there was a shoe shine stand, yeah. One colored man was shining shoes there, yes.
Mm-hmm. You were Greek, and the nationality, there was a lot of Greek restaurants in Cedar Rapids at that time?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Mostly Coney Islands. Coney Islands. In fact, I worked there one time.
Yeah. And where was that? What was the location?
It was back of the Paramount Theater there,
Yeah.
yes, and I worked there for quite a while.
Do you remember the Depression? Was you old enough? Do you remember any soup lines? You had probably been in the 30s. You had probably been 13 years old. Do you ever recall any memories of the Depression?
Well, I know we didn't have too much money in those days. My dad, and I remember though, he was buying a house in those days, and all he could do was pay on the interest and not the principal. He wasn't making that much money,
Mm-hmm. But back then, everybody was probably in the same boat, so you didn't really feel you were any poorer than anybody else.
But I don't remember any soup lines, no.
Yeah. Do you remember a Daddy Ward in the Sunshine Mission?
Oh, yes, you betcha. They call him Daddy Ward, yes. It's over there on downtown someplace.
Wasn't there a big lighted cross up on top of that?
Yes, there was. It's on 2nd Street and A Avenue, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The old Sunshine Mission, they call it, yes.
Was your dad a religious man?
Yes, he was. He went to the Greek Orthodox Church on A Avenue, yes.
Would that have been St. John's, or?
I think it was St. John's Orthodox Church, yes, on A Avenue.
Yeah. Did he insist that the kids go?
No, by golly, he didn't, because I went to church on the west side, the Ellis Park Church of God, and he'd take me over there every Sunday morning, and he'd go to his church, and I'd go to mine.
Yeah. Why did you choose to go to the church on Ellis?
Well, because my grandmother went there, and she talked me into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was always her favorite grandson, so she always took care of me.
Was she Greek Orthodox, or
No,
that was a different religion?
Different religion, yes.
Were you Did you baptized into her religion or
Yes,
into
it
the
was.
Greek?
I was baptized twice there. Yes.
Yeah.
One time I was baptized in Ellis Park over there in the Cedar River.
In the Cedar River?
Yes.
Was that an occasion that they would have every so often?
Well, the church
group
had
baptism?
that. Yes,
Yeah.
they did. Yes.
Yeah.
That was quite a deal.
Yeah. What year do you suppose that had been?
Well, I'd be about 10, 11 years old, so it must be 1931.
1930.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's been quite an occasion, I suppose. That
It was. I never hear of it anymore. I mean, being baptized in the river that way. Then I was baptized in the church too.
Did you at one time think about becoming becoming a reverend or?
Hey, by golly,
Minister.
when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to be, a missionary.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
All my life, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a missionary. I
Did-
went to church on Sundays and Wednesdays and Fridays. Twice on Sundays, I'd go to church. My boyhood's life was going to church.
Yeah. Did your grandma know you had that ambition that you'd?
I believe she must have, because I was always with her. I mean, she was there too when I went to church. In fact, I used to take her when I started driving a car, you know.
Did you ever try to pursue it?
Well, I don't know. World War II came along. I went to service in 5 years. When I got through there, I was a different boy.
When you were growing up, could your dad afford to give you money for you to go to movies or?
Not very much. Well, at those times, movies would only cost 10 cents, so I guess he did give me money to go to the old Rialto shows, you know, on 2nd Avenue. And he had these westerns. I was a western boy when I was growing up. That's all we ever saw was western movies.
Yeah. What movie theaters did you like the best to go to?
Well, we always went to the Rialto. It had Tom Mix and all those silent movie stars.
These would be matinees.
Yes, oh yes, Saturday afternoons. Yes,
Yeah.
oh
You'd
yes.
probably spend all afternoon there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The Greek Orthodox had what they would call name days. People would celebrate name days, like birthdays. Did you ever hear about that?
No, it's news to me.
Your patron saint, they would call it celebrate the name day instead of your birthday. They would celebrate the birthday of
I
the
suppose.
patron saint. You don't
No.
recall that. Where did you graduate from? You graduated from Washington then.
Well, no, McKinley.
McKinley?
When they shut down Washington, they made McKinley a high school.
Yeah.
So I went all the way through McKinley from 9th to the 12th, and I graduated there.
We were talking, George, about the Greeks were known for their good food, and a lot of them went into the restaurant business. Did your dad ever do any cooking when you was young?
Oh, absolutely. He did all the cooking on Sunday mornings. Oh, yes.
What did he?
His favorite was his stew or soup, I guess we call it, made with rice or vermicelli rice and eggs, beaten up eggs, and it had to be the brown eggs because they were more yellow.
Round eggs. Brown eggs.
From Rhode Island hens.
Mhm.
Yes.
Rhode Island
Yes,
Reds.
they always had brown eggs, brown colored eggs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember any other his dishes that were your favorites? Greek dishes.
No, that soup was my main dish. I mean, every Sunday we'd have it just about, so I got used to it.
So after you graduated from high school, George, was there? What did you decide you were going to do with your life? Was there
Well,
jobs available if you wanted jobs, or did
No,
you?
there wasn't too many jobs. I ended up working at the Lincoln Hotel at my high school, and I also worked at the Hotel Roosevelt in the restaurant there. But then my brother and I decided we'd go to the Army.
Why?
And I don't know why. He wanted to go to the Navy, and I wanted to go to the Army, so I talked him into going to the Army because I didn't like water.
You wanted adventure.
I don't know, just why we wanted to, I don't know, we thought it'd be a good deal.
What year would have this been?
1940.
1940.
Yes.
Was there any inkling at that time in the world news that there possibly could be a war when you enlisted? That maybe it wouldn't have bothered you anyway at your age.
Well, I believe there was talk, about war, but it wasn't on then. But shortly after we enlisted, though, it come on. Yeah.
So did both of you take your trainings at the same boot camp, or did you go off in different directions?
Well, we started out the same. We went to Fort Des Moines. We were there a while. Then they decided to send one of us south and one of us north. So my brother went down south to Little Rock, and I went up north to Minneapolis.
So where did you end up being stationed then?
Well, I was stationed there in Minneapolis, Fort Snelling, for 2 years.
And then when?
And then the war came on, and I got shipped out and went east. Ended up in St. John's, Newfoundland, and I spent 2 years there.
Yeah. What was your duties up in St. John's?
Well, I was very fortunate. I was a company clerk, we call it, and I was worked in the office all the time, which I like to do anyway.
Yeah. Did you stay there then throughout your term?
I was there 2 years,
Newfoundland?
and then after 2 years they shipped us out. I went back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up at someplace in New York.
Lake Placid, perhaps?
Lake Placid, New York, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I
So-
was there for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then the war ended, and we were all the boys come back from overseas. They top of this Lake Placid area, and we'd. I didn't do it myself, but they had fellows there to interview these boys and want to know where they wanted to go and whatnot. And I was behind the scene, I might say.
Mhm.
I was doing typewriter work and stuff like that.
So you were fortunate enough you didn't have to go overseas.
My overseas duty was at St. John's, Newfoundland, yes,
Mhm.
and I was very fortunate.
Mm-hmm. So what year then were you discharged?
1945.
Yeah. Did you ever think of joining the reserves after you got out?
Yeah, that was after I got discharged. When I got home, I decided I wanted to make a little more money, so I joined the reserves. That was the worst thing I ever did. Because when the Korean War broke out, they called me back in.
When you did get out, was there jobs available?
Oh yes.
When you
yes,
first got
yes, there was,
discharged?
Yes.
Did a lot of the women quit their jobs that they were working to make jobs available for the men, or was there plenty to go around for both?
Well, I think there was plenty to go around, because I got a job right away working at Century Engineering.
And then how long did you stay at Century then?
Well, I was only there less than a year, then I got laid off.
Mhm.
Then I applied for a job at Wilson Company, and I got on.
In Wilson's, I imagine they were in a big hiring mode at that time.
At that time, they were, yes.
Yeah.
That was 1947.
Mhm. Did you meet any girls yet? Did you have any girlfriends throughout your early years?
I met my wife in 1946.
1946.
Went dancing one night at Top Hat on 2nd Avenue there, and that's where I met her. We've been together ever since.
What was her name?
Well, her name was Wilma, but she wanted me to call her Cookie.
Did you go to a lot of dances?
In those days we did, yes. We sure
That's
did.
probably was one of the main entertainments for.
Well, sure, that's right. That's the only thing we could do. Had dancing and a few drinks, you know.
Of course, you probably had to take your own bottle.
Oh, we took our own bottle and
Buy a setup?
Oh yes, buy the setups. And every Saturday we go to Drayport out there on the highway on old 218.
What was some of the other dance halls you went to?
Dance Land, over 28 night on Wednesday nights, and we used to go to RMR. That's about the main dancing.
Do you remember any bands that become big name later on?
No.
Like Lawrence Welk or...
Well, he never came to Cedar Rapids, so, but I suppose he was popular in those days. He's been there a long while.
Yeah.
But I remember Tiny Hill. He had a band in Cedar Rapids.
So, What was your job when you first went to work for Wilson's?
Well, I was in a timekeeper.
And your job would have been figuring out time cards?
Right, yeah. Every Monday we'd figure out how many hours each people worked, and then it totaled up for the total amount for the whole week. We'd total that up, and that's what they get paid with.
Yeah.
If they work 40 hours, they get paid 40 hours.
Mm-hmm. And how many factory people was just the factory or the office?
Factory, just the factory. Yes.
How many, suppose, was on the payroll at that time?
Well, at that time it was about 2,000,
Yeah.
yes.
That was before time clocks, right? Or did you have a time clock?
Oh, yeah, we had time
Yeah,
clocks, yes, for the employees, yes.
Uh,
I had a punch time clock too, come to think of it, yes.
Did when you first started, you punched a clock?
Sure, yeah.
So what year did you and Cookie get married?
1950.
1950.
Yeah.
And is that before you, what was her occupation? Was she
worked
working?
at Wilson's too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they have a stipulation that husband and wife couldn't work in the same department?
Oh, yes, absolutely. When I was a foreman in lasting flavor, she could never work in that department. Yeah.
So you got caught up in the Korean conflict?
Oh, I sure did, yes. I
When
was no company clerk over there.
What division were you in?
7th Cavalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your rank then?
I was a private when I was
Private?
there, and
Yeah.
when I come back, I was a private.
Where were you sent to over in Korea then?
Well, we went from here, we went to Seattle, Washington, and we shipped out there and went to, we landed in, southern part of Korea someplace. I'm not sure just where it was now. I can't tell you.
What was your duties? Foot soldier?
Oh, you betcha, foot soldier. I carried these 60 miller cannons. And I'd carry the cannon, and the other fellow carried the shells.
You got injured, didn't you?
Yes, I did. My patrol, or our patrol, 10 men was out on patrol looking for Chinese, and boy, we found them. And they started shooting, we started shooting, and all of a sudden I felt a burning sensation in my foot, and there it was bleeding like hell. And
Was there a medic available?
no, it was an old grandpa, what we used to call the grandpa Koreans. Anyway, old man Korean.
Papa-san?
Papa-san, that's it. He carried me down the hill on his back. And that was a big hill.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
You could have bled to death.
Yes, I could have.
You got a medal for that, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a Purple Heart.
Would you like to show us?
Sure.
You want to tilt it up, George,
Sure,
a little
you
bit?
bet.
How long after was it that you received the medal after you were injured?
Oh, it was way after I got home. They sent it, I'm not sure if they sent it to me before I got home or afterwards now, but they sent it to my wife.
So were you discharged then after you were injured?
Well, I spent 6 weeks in a Japanese hospital, I know that, and shortly after that, they started letting fellows go that had so many points, they called them points. And I had enough points to get out, so I got discharged.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Japanese hospitals. Were they anything like American hospitals?
Oh, yes, they had cute little Japanese nurses.
George, you're supposed to be injured and hurting.
I know, I wasn't. I get that penicillin shot in my BUT, though, every day.
Yeah. But
6 weeks.
they were up on the latest
Oh, you betcha.
medical
They
practices.
were good, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And were they very nice to you?
Yes, they were very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you come home, what did you go back to Wilson's after you come home? After you got discharged, did you go back
Oh,
to
yes.
Wilson's?
I went back to my same job, yes.
Same.
Yes.
And did you stay in the timekeeping department?
No, I was there for 5 years, and then in 1952 I asked for a foreman's job, and they gave it to me. And I was there the rest of my time.
What department? What was your first department that you worked in?
As a foreman?
Yeah.
lasting flavor.
Lasting flavor.
First and last department.
In what was involved in lasting in the lasting flavor department?
Canned hams and pickled pig's feet, and well, that's about it. And we had tasty bops there too. That was bacon rinds fried, you know. And that's it.
Did you have male and female employees both working for
Oh,
you?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mostly female.
Mostly
For me,
females.
yes.
Did they show the foreman respect?
Well, yes and no.
There's always some that
All the minorities.
going to be obstinate.
A couple of, what should I say, colored girls. I'd tell them to get to work, and they'd say, "You're picking on me," so they take me downtown and say I'm picking on them and showing favoritism and whatnot. They not much fun to work with.
Was did your boss ever call you in and reprimand you for treating them the way you did, or are they just kind of
No, they let me
run your own shop?
Yes.
Did you have to deal with a lot of military, not deal with, but you probably had a lot of military inspectors, didn't you, throughout the plant?
It was mostly canned hams. The military bought the canned hams, but they didn't bought very few pig's feet.
So that would been in your department, canned hams, then?
It would be in the same department, but I wasn't the foreman of that. I was just the foreman of pig's feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kosher inspectors? The Jewish send in inspectors to...
They had kosher inspectors on the beef kill and sheep kill, but never in our department, no.
Mm-hmm. This, I know it wasn't your department, but wasn't the beef or the meat that was prepared for the Jewish people, didn't it have to be killed in a certain manner?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes. I can't tell you how or when, but there is a certain way to kill them, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
And they would come in and make sure it was
Yes,
performed in
they
that
sure
manner?
would, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever recall any discrimination? Sexual discrimination, structural harassment that you had to deal with as a supervisor?
Oh, yes. All these black girls, they always say I'm discriminating, I'm picking on them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I just tell them to shut up and get to work. Well, they say I'm discriminating, I'm picking on them.
How about theft? Did you ever have any theft in the department where people would try to slip stuff out under their coat? Or?
No, but we had it down at the plant, though. I mean, a lot of, you just hear now and then people getting fired for just stealing very little, well, they would steal meat, too. They put it in their pockets, you know, and they get caught.
Yeah. And I imagine you were very strict on safety equipment.
Oh, absolutely. They had to wear mesh gloves and hair nets in their hair and aprons and stuff like that, yes.
Helmets?
Helmets, yes.
Bodyguards and that. Would the company furnish these safety items, or did they have to buy?
It was all furnished by the company, yes.
Okay. Knives, I often wondered who sharpened the knives. Did they sharpen their own knives?
No, by golly, I used to do the sharpening on my department.
Did you really?
The girls say my knife is getting dull, so I take it over there in the mechanical shop and sharpen it for them, yes.
Did you use steel on them? Steel?
Well, they steal their own.
They would steal their own
They had
knife?
steels there, they'd steal them, yes, but
Yeah.
when grinding down the knives, I do that for them, yes.
How about absenteeism? Was that a big problem?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Every day we have to get people to take their place, you know, call at the employment office and ask for replacements.
If you had a high absenteeism rate, would your boss get on your neck then?
Well, no, not really. He wouldn't get down my neck. No, he just.
As long as you found replacements.
As long as we had replacements, he was satisfied.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How about people called in sick? Did you have a company nurse? I'm sure you had company nurses.
Company nurses. Oh,
did,
yes.
Did
yes.
they ever go out and check on the people
yes,
that called
would.
in sick?
Yes, they would. You betcha. Yes.
How about breaks? Were they? Did you have people a problem with people taking extended breaks?
Oh, you know what, we sure did. we every morning we get a 15-minute break. They go to the cafeteria and have coffee and donuts, and in the afternoon they get another 15-minute break. But in between times, say you work 2 hours and they went to go to the restroom, some of the girls would overstay there. But most of them were pretty good though. They go up there and do their job and come back.
What would you do if you had somebody that was habitually abusing that privilege? Did you have to send? Could you have somebody you could send in after them, or wait till they come out?
Well, we just waited till they come out, and I'd ball them out.
Did you, when you had to discipline people, what was the procedure? Did you give them? I know other companies have oral interviews and they have written interviews. You would write a person up and state what their violation was. Could you actually fire somebody, or the system set up that you couldn't do that as a supervisor?
Well, I really couldn't fire anybody that way. I just had to report it to my boss, and he'd take over.
But you didn't have to do a oral or sit down and talk to them, and then do a written on them or write.
No,
you didn't. Your supervisor took care of that.
Yes.
Was Lasting Flavor, would you consider that a good place to work, or did people consider that a good place to work?
I think they did. I liked it there. I mean, I was there for from 52 to 80, 28 years. I was there, so I consider that my home. Yeah. I liked it there. Yes.
Was there such a thing as I know probably if you had mostly women working for you, there are certain times of the month when women would have PMS or something.
Oh, yes,
would they be restricted to what they could work on, or in any of the departments that you know of?
Well, they might have been, but in my case, I didn't have that problem come up. So I don't know. It's possible it could have been, yes.
Anything you disliked about your let me ask you, what didn't you like about your job as being a supervisor?
The black people.
You never had a problem. It never bothered you to come down on people and say, "Hey, this is the way it's going to be," or did they treat you in such a fashion that you didn't have to?
No, most of the people down there were good people, and they were good workers. In fact, a lot of them, most of them were really good workers. Just had a few, what you call jokers.
Yeah, you always have a certain percentage in any factory. Was the union strong down there?
Yes, it was.
What union would that have been? The United Meatpackers?
I think that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Do you recall any strikes when you were a supervisor there?
Oh, absolutely. 1947 was a big strike, and 1960 was another big strike. So I remember 2 of them anyway.
What caused the one in 47? Wages or working conditions?
It must have been wages. Yeah. Because wages were very small then.
Mm-hmm. In later years, Wilson's was known as a place that paid good, right?
Well, yes, it used to be a good paying place, yes. But
before it started going downhill.
Right.
When you had these strikes, would there have been a lot of people that crossed the picket line?
We had a few, because when the strike went so long, then the company wanted to start up the business again, so we had to call people out and see if they wanted to come in. And that was one of my jobs too. I didn't like it, but I had to do it. And they did cross the line, yes.
Did you ever have any violence on the picket line?
Oh, yes. We used to ride the bus there and pick up people, and they'd throw stones at the bus and stuff like that.
When they had a strike, did the people in the office, did they have to go out and work in the factory?
Yes, they did, and I did too. Yeah. I worked in the hall kill there when they started up again.
Yeah. Did you ever have any sit-down strikes where they get...
I think some departments could have had, like the hog cut and hog kill, the big departments, but we never did, no.
Yeah. Who was the plant manager? Remember his name at that time?
He had 2 of them. Amelong was the last one.
Mhm. And then there was a time when there was a company that bought out Wilson's.
Yeah, that place.
Linn, Temco, and Vaught.
Temco down in Texas, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did things start going downhill?
Yes, it did. They sold the sporting goods company there, and that was a good money maker for them. And I guess Linn didn't want it, so he sold it to.
Is that when people started losing what they had built up in their pensions after this company had dumped Wilson's, or was that a result of bad economy at Wilson's?
That must have been bad economy. I think Farmstead was when they took over is when they started going downhill.
So, what year did you retire from Wilson's?
I retired in 1980, May of 1980,
Now, did you retire from Wilson's?
from Wilson.
From
Company,
Wilson's.
Yes.
So you were able to retain your pension
Oh,
that
yes,
had
got
built
my
up
full
over the years.
pension and all the. Well, I don't get any. Don't get any health benefits. I still get a little from prescription drugs, but not much.
Yeah. Did you? What's some of the changes you've seen from the time you started until the time you left? Did it take a lot less people? That was more automated? Or?
Well, in our department, there wasn't that much automation, I don't think. We still had people who had to put the hands in the can and put the pig's feet in the jar, so we wasn't too much automated.
I often wondered, how did they get a ham to fit inside of a can? Did they
The girls had to cut them up,
trim them
trim them. Oh,
so
yes.
they would fit?
You bet, yes.
And then all the trimmings would be used as some other...
Well, all the fat, they trim the fat off on the hams, you know, and it'd go into a container, and they take that down to the, well, sort of go to the A&P feeds, and they make dog food and stuff like that out of it.
Mhm. When the people would go on breaks or after they got off their shift, was there any favorite places that taverns or restaurants they went to near the plant afterwards, a gathering place or the watering hole, whatever you want to
Yes,
call it?
I never went there myself, but what's that one?
CIO.
CIO Tavern in the back of the packing house. Yeah, but I was never there. But, and then there's the south side.
Did you try to not to frequent the bars after work?
Well, in those days, I never did. No.
You just
never
just
did.
that. Did you ever get the opportunity to go back to your home country? You ever have a desire to go back to Greece and see where your father come from?
Well, I had a chance to go back. My father went back here, but I had no desire to go back. I was never there to start with, so I don't know much about it. But I'm a Cedar Rapids boy, and I like Cedar Rapids.
Do you still like Greek food? Certain
I
dishes.
don't get much of it anymore, but yes, I'd love to have some of that there Greek soup sometimes. And the Greeks had a dessert that they made,
Baklava.
baklava. Yes, that was delicious. Yeah.
Did you ever try to duplicate the soup that your dad used to
My
make on
wife
Sunday?
My wife used to make it. Yes.
She get it down pretty good? You're pretty
not
close?
Not too bad. No.
Yeah.
Yes. Of
Well,
course,
I just-
she learned from my dad. My dad told her
Yeah.
how to make it.
Well, that just is what I make.
So, what did you do in your retirement years, George? Did you have any hobbies, any interests, or not all of them? Just a
Do you
few?
want to know?
Yeah.
Oh, for a long time we had a cabin at Delhi.
Hmm.
For 20-some years we had a cabin out there.
That probably helped you keep your
You
sanity
bet it did. Yes.
when you had a bad week at work.
Yes, it sure did. But then I gave the cabin to my son. He's got it now. So now we belong to a retiree club, P3 Retiree Club. We go there once a month, and they play bingo once a week, and I work there every other week. And we do contribute money to the Indians once in a while. Tama.
You did.
You had mentioned the fact that not mentioned the fact, but you had mentioned that you was very into bottles
Oh, yes.
Liquor
yes.
decanters.
We belong to Jim Beam Bottle Club, yes. Yes, we still do.
Did that involve any conventions or
Oh,
travel?
absolutely, yes. We used to go to convention every year, international convention. We've been to Boston, Maryland, and Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and Las Vegas twice, and Seattle, and you name it, we've been there.
Yeah. Is that still as big as it was?
No, it's not. At one time, we had 3,000 members. Now, I think, the last I heard, it's down to about 600, 700.
Did you and your wife have a large collection of decanters?
At one time I did. I had over 300 bottles, yes. But I'm down to about 100 now.
Yeah.
I've been selling them off.
Did they retain their value,
No,
or
they
did
sure don't know. At one time I had a bottle from Houston, Texas, 2 of them cowboy bottles, and when I bought them, they were worth $500 a piece. Now the book says they're worth about $60 a piece. So, like everything else, they go down in value.
Yeah. Of course, at that time, you thought the value would probably keep increasing year
Well,
after
that's
year.
what we thought. That's
Yeah,
what they told us
yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know, that they'd gone up. But,
The older they got, the more.
that's right. It's like antiques to me, but it didn't work that way.
George, I'm going to have Alan train his camera on the picture of
Okay.
you and your wife.
Okay.
You don't want that outlaw picture up.
This is an anniversary pictures then.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
50 years.
Yeah. Where did you tell us where you met Cookie?
Yes. Top hat.
Oh, the top hat.
Top
That's
hat,
great. And how long have you been married?
53 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she a good cook, George?
You bet she is.
What nationality was your wife?
Well, my wife's a full-blooded Bohemian.
Was she a good Czech cook?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She makes the best kolaches of anybody in the city.
What are some of the other favorite dishes you like that she makes? Then?
Oh, sauerkraut and dumplings and pork.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and well, she can cook anything.
Good.
Lemon cake. She makes the best from scratch chocolate cake you ever tasted. And of course, with my condition now, my diabetes, I can't eat it anymore.
Yeah.
But I still.
You still dream about it. George, unless you have any more memories to share with us, the Cedar Rapids History Center, the Linn County Historical Society would like to thank you very much for sharing your memories with us.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.